Coming up on today's wrestling news, I'm going to tell you what The Rock whispered to Cody Rhodes on SmackDown.
When did Triple H find out he had to use The Rock for WrestleMania? We'll try and figure it out.
AEW's Cash Wheeler is facing criminal charges.
And this AEW star didn't even answer a phone call to return to WWE.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. I mean, it feels like the rest of this week, this is going to be the lead story, barring.
Yeah.
Because it's all going down tomorrow night, of course, at the press conference for WrestleMania. The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. It's all up in the air, and the catalyst for that was, of course, Friday night, where Cody Rhodes seemingly surrendered his chance to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and handed it off to his good friend, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. There's been a fair bit of backlash following that, and I'll be honest, I've no idea what's about to happen on Thursday night. Regardless, obviously, when The Rock showed up on SmackDown, he did get a great reaction, less so subsequently on social media. But he comes out, as I said, Cody's been the guy to say, you know what, I took advice from him and he really wants to, go after you, Roman. You know him pretty well. And he comes into the ring, he shakes Cody's hand, hugs him close, and he whispered something to him. And a lot of people have been asking, what did he actually say to Cody Rhodes in that moment? Because Cody just sort of smiles and sort of forces a smile potentially and leaves. He doesn't look best pleased about it all, understandably. I can clarify, my sources are telling me it wasn't what Christian Cage said to Adam Copeland when he first arrived in AEW, apparently.
And that's a journalist saying that.
But according to Fightful Select, we don't know the exact words, obviously. The content of the chat, they say, we haven't been able to find out what The Rock said to Cody Rhodes verbatim, but we have learned it was something in reference to their fathers. We've long heard that The Rock and Cody maintained a great relationship for years, obviously both having dads in whether or not the relationship is going to remain the same as we head towards April is anybody's guess.
You're right about what felt like a forced smile, far be it of us to force our speculation out of the face of Cody Rhodes, but judge that for yourself when you look at the footage. It kind of falls into the next story, doesn't it? We should wrap all this together, As Wilborn points out, it's been the talking point all week, and all roads feel like they're headed to this Thursday press conference where we might get some answers to these myriad of questions.
Midnight for us UK viewers, I do believe.
Well, it's like an early start for us, isn't it?
Yes.
Pretty much. With apologies to the Americans that have got to get up at 4 a.m. for Elimination Chamber. We've got one pay-per-view I have to get up early for. Anyway, that's our regular agenda of bitterness based on 30-odd years of time differences. But yes, more questions and answers right now, with one of the biggest appearing to be, when did Triple H know about this? There are contradictory stories out there, but the stories are coming from the most reliable reporters typically, so we're kind of going to give both sides of this, let you make your mind up. It appears from Fightful Select that he might not have known until, certainly the Royal Rumble at the absolute earliest. There's a long report from Fightful Select, some good digging on this.
Really good this,
and they've said, quote, while we can't speak to the grander situation and who planned what specifically, we can speak to Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, the creative team, producers, those around them, so everybody pretty much involved in the picture there. They were not told an elaborate, multifaceted work was the plan. As of last week, Cody Rhodes for Seth Rollins was the direction to creative. Prior to the Rumble, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins was the active plan, and that was relayed to Punk himself. So if there was a work at play, it didn't involve those parties ahead of the Royal Rumble, or it would have been a work on them as well. That would explain why Cody Rhodes wasn't just booked to win the Rumble, but was booked to point.
Yes.
Created quite an epic scene of him pointing at Roman Reigns and said, I am challenging you. They were both champions in the skyboxes, and he was pinpointing Reigns until that, what at the time felt like just an interesting fork in the road with Seth Rollins and Cody.
Yeah, on that promo, the Raw after the Royal Rumble.
The report continues that there might have been some tacit changes over Royal Rumble weekend, but all the aforementioned, the talent, the creative, the producers weren't involved. Quote, we've heard at the day of the Rumble, several in creative were told The Rock versus Roman Reigns was the plan and that merchandise had been produced to promote it. As far as word that the plan for The Rock and Roman Reigns was the plan dating back to January 3rd, we've heard from WWE sources that there were meetings on the 1st and others along the way that had indicated to Cody Rhodes that the creative direction had not changed. And he was
sort of received reassurances.
He was slated to face Reigns at WrestleMania. Up until the week prior to the Rumble, no other parties that we'd heard from or have spoken to were made aware. To the best of our knowledge, a select group of people are informed Royal Rumble weekend that the direction had changed. Other sources claim this direction goes all the way up to Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro, and even above Nick Khan and Triple H. Now, I apologise for a lot of reading. I don't know how much you choose to dive into all of this. That's why we're just trying to aggregate it as best as we can. The mention of January 3rd and what weekend was this and what weekend was that is in direct reference to a report from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, where in a report where he said Rock made the deal to come in on January 3rd, facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania was part of the deal. Why Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble is a question I cannot answer because nobody will answer it for me. It played out the way they wanted it to play out. The plan as of Friday night, referring to SmackDown, was Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and we'll see how it plays out now because they're trying to turn it into a story, and we'll see how the story goes. So Meltzer suggests that at least everybody on the top table, and you would assume a lot of the top figures, knew early January that it was Rock Roman, but then he is himself speculating out loud why on earth they would go ahead with the Rumble as it played out if that was the case. So a couple of contradicting stories there, but I think that last line of the Fightful report was more interesting. Nick Khan is one thing, Triple H is another entirely. Yeah. We seem to be at an absolute, what's that it's one of two things now. It absolutely has to be this or it has to be
An impasse.
Either Triple H had absolutely no idea.
Oh yeah.
Until let's say Royal Rumble weekend at the earliest that The Rock was coming in, or he did know, or people that were close to him knew and didn't tell him, and that wasn't filtered down to all the key talent involved. Either way, oh boy.
Yeah. First of all, that's not an impasse. I've realised I've got that wrong.
Well,
but yeah, it is one of two things, both of which are astonishing.
Yeah.
If he knows and lies to talent, that destroys. Burns many bridges and destroys a lot of potential.
Not so much lies, but withholds the information until he feels like
that's a better way of putting it. If not, why the hell wouldn't you loop Triple H into something like this so he doesn't book what he books and make complete tit out of everyone? And like you said, also, as part of this, okay, let's say Triple H doesn't know, and they go, no, what we're going to do is we're going to have Cody win the Rumble. And Cody's going to face Seth, and they'll be fine with that. And they'll do Rock Roman Reigns. What the hell does CM Punk do if he doesn't get injured?
Yeah.
They're doing this in January.
There's a lot.
They brought him in, Survivor Series, and they go, we'll have him face Kira Tozawa just on the kickoff or something.
There is a lot to suggest that some people in very powerful positions maybe aren't exactly on the same page.
No.
There's some pushing and pulling going on here. That's again just
power struggle, isn't it?
It feels that way. Speculation, not words that have been used in any reporting, but it does sort of look from the outside in like a power struggle. Where do you sit in this power struggle? What's your opinion on how it's going to shake down at this Las Vegas press conference tomorrow? And furthermore, would you ever like to engage in any sort of conversation like the one we're having in person with us?
Hey?
Because you only bloody can. WrestleMania weekend. It's Always Sunny at WhatCulture is going to be live in Philadelphia. Night 2 of WrestleMania will be taking place on the evening, but the real main event will be taking place at 12 o'clock that Sunday because we'll all be there, but most importantly Simon Miller will be.
Yes.
And tickets are available at whatculture.com/tickets. We are the meeting your WrestleMania sandwich. VIP ones are gone, but there's tickets, t-shirts, all the good stuff still available at that website, at the location. Get in while you still can. And if you do that, we'll stop plugging it as well.
Yeah, and whatever happens on that Sunday, we'll make sure you have a good time before WrestleMania at the very least.
Yeah, we can promise that bit regardless of what WWE do. So that's good for us, if nothing else.
We'll circle back to all the Rock, Roman, Cody stuff when we get to the Twitter questions.
Sure we will.
All I see in the mornings are those questions, and thank you so much to everyone who sent them for us. And very serious matter to bring on to now, regarding Cash Wheeler. He is going to face criminal charges following that arrest of his last year for aggravated assault with a firearm. It happened back in August of 2023, if you remember. The arrest, that is, related to the incident that happened in July of that year. He filed a plea of not guilty to the charge. Initially, it all went quiet, no updates or movements. But the decision has eventually been made to file the charges. According to PW Insider, I'm just going to read this. During that arraignment, the prosecution stated that the July 2023 incident leading to Wheeler's arrest was believed to be a road rage incident, and that during the incident, Wheeler allegedly flashed a gun at the other party. During the arraignment, Wheeler's attorney stated that he did not know the other party. The word victims, as in plural, was used under the proceedings. Under Florida the law, Hamlet, a conviction for aggravated assault with a firearm could lead to up to 5 years imprisonment, 5 years probation, and a $5,000 fine. There is a hearing slated for the 20th of February, listed as an arraignment, although Wheeler has, of course, obviously previously been arraigned. No word on this from AEW. I'll just read this statement that they gave previously. AEW has been made aware of the charge and we are closely monitoring the situation. He is fully cooperating with local authorities. Big bombshell, this.
Yeah, it was a bombshell, wasn't it, just before All In last year when the
Yes.
story first dropped. And yeah, I suppose with that delay and with the the kind of lack of information, you sense that maybe the story was just going away, or things were being settled out of court, or just handled away from maybe the situation we're now in, which is criminal charges. We don't know any more on this, I guess. There's a good chance we might get to see it all play out. If you remember the video of his, was it his arraignment, or maybe
yeah.
Like he was brought out in front. That was filmed. It's not something that we typically get to see here in the UK due to what you can and can't see in courts. But yeah, that was available to watch online. So,
not unless you're watching Judge Rinder.
Yeah.
Is he still a thing?
I'm not sure. I don't know if FTR would love to wrestle on ITV, but only because that's where he had goddamn WCW in the early '90s. Saturday
Get me
night.
Judge Judy in here. Judge Judith Scheindlin in her court.
Well, maybe there's I don't know if she was ever on. Was she on like TBS or TNT? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
if she was.
I know she made it an absolute, but she made more money than The Rock one year.
Did she?
Yeah,
Just
she
Judy.
sold like the rights
Real.
to Judge Judy and made a shed load of cash.
Blimey. Well, yeah, we've trivialised that issue.
Yeah,
anyway.
sorry.
No, but it's.
It's going to be really intriguing because, like you say, it's one of those things where you can't exactly be like, any idea when this is all going to be done and dusted? It's criminal proceedings. It's a frustrating time if you're a fan of FTR in terms of the way they've been booked in AEW, because they've got all this momentum. They've just, defeated basically the House of Black. They've got this trio with Daniel Garcia. It seems like that direction is where they could be heading, and yet now, who knows?
I was feeling as well
Can't really
like
book around criminal proceedings.
it's weird, from our UK perspective, when a story like this comes up, and I know there'll be American fans watching the comments that think our Mr. Bean looking asses shouldn't talk about guns. It's weird to us, isn't it, that this is even something that goes on, just the old sly gun in the glove box. It is in one sense a very other world to us, but obviously with wrestling being attached to it, we'll have to see how this one develops.
Yeah, the closest you get in Britain is someone going like that. And you cut them up a little bit, basically.
A Jeremy Vine cycling video.
Yes.
Where he gets knocked off his bike, or he elbows a wing mirror off or something.
Well, like I say, the arraignments set for the 20th of February. We'll keep you updated on any developments as and when they happen.
5 years.
Yeah.
Blimey.
I mean, up to, it could obviously, no idea.
Back onto more wrestling-centric news, I suppose. Swerve Strickland.
Legend. Friend
Obviously,
of the channel.
Indeed. And big match tonight against Hangman Adam Page. Could become the singular #1 contender to Samoa Joe's AEW World Heavyweight title as early as Revolution.
Well, unless Hangman Page goes into business for himself again, of course. I'm joking. Come on, he's been brilliant since he did.
Yeah, they seem to have got him back on track, don't they?
I don't think this is getting a result, to be perfectly honest.
He's got back on the horse. Well, find out what we're thinking long form.
I think we get a triple threat, and it's not the only triple threat I'm hoping for right now.
Our AEW Dynamite preview coming later wherever you get your podcast. But yes, anyway, Swerve has obviously got everything going his way at the moment, and this is following mixed bag of a run in WWE. But he
did threaten Hangman Page's child, just to balance the scales a little bit. It's all going well for him because he threatens a man's child.
Yeah, they did Route 1. Route 1 pro wrestling title progression, But yes, this was from Fightful, but from an interview he did on a Smooth Vega podcast where he was talking about Hit Row and his WWE past and his future and all that sort of stuff. And Swerve himself said in relation to when there was the opportunity to go back to WWE, that comes from experience. I had a different experience than those guys, his Hit Row partners. I've known how to build myself from the ground up on the independents. I knew how to hustle, how to get to here, how to get to there, put on performances and matches, and then go, how do I get that? Then monetize that into this and make this into something. Everything throughout my career into this day I apply. One thing leads to another and another. That's how you see those little things in my entrance, my music, my wrestling, my look, my sound. All of that was weaving together from going from here to hustling. That's something those guys, he's Top Dollar, B-Fab, Ashanti the Adonis, need to learn. It's tough in that organisation, WWE. It's really tough creatively when you don't have your hands on the creative and it's left to the powers that be to manoeuvre you how they see fit. It's not easy for anybody. For me, I was in a place where I knew I needed to be. I needed to be in AEW. When I got the phone call to go back, I didn't even answer it. It was nope. To clarify, obviously, some of those comments there, Swerve doesn't mention specifically when the WWE call did come through, but we did see that return for Hit Row in the summer of 2022 when Triple H was just like funneling a bunch of released talents that he clearly had an affection for back onto television. So we can maybe assume it was then, but yeah, that's not made clear by Swerve. But certainly, you imagine that had the opportunity to bring the full Hit Row back together, WWE would have wanted to take it.
Yeah, I think AEW is the best place for Swerve, obviously, right now. WWE really dropped the ball on him. You and I and Sid and all of us at WhatCulture were singing his praises from his NXT days. And he looked like they might have some potential when they brought him up as a group onto the main roster. They did some different stuff. They did like a live rap show on NXT.
And he was the identifiable talent.
He was there,
wasn't he? You could push him right now.
And you thought when they did brought all of them up, you thought, hello, this could be a real immediate push. They didn't capitalise on it. They lost him. They may have lost him for good because the way AEW's booking him right now, why would he ever risk potentially going back there and just dropped into the mid-card? He's going to be a world champion, I'd suggest, hopefully by the end of this year, hopefully in the next month or so. But it was all a bit iffy, that, wasn't it? Of just, actually, we suddenly want you back now that, I mean, obviously it probably wasn't Triple H's decision to get rid of Swerve, so I sympathise on that. But you can't just say, change your plan, why don't you just come back? Yeah. We realise we've made a mistake. It's the boyfriend going back to the girl he broke up with. I've realised now you're dating someone who's far more attractive than I am and does better things for you. I might have made a mistake. So do you want to come back?
I'm prepared to give you another shot. We good?
Yeah. Good? Yeah. But best of luck to Swerve and Hangman tonight on Dynamite. We'll preview that later on today, of course. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture, WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. As I said, a lot of varying booking suggestions for Rock, Roman, Cody, WrestleMania, etc. I just picked out one here from MK Dragon 76, who says, "Love the Money in the Bank live stream." We love that one as well. That's one of my favourite, probably one of my highlights of last year. After my son being born, of course. Here's an out there thought, says MK Dragon. Rock beats Reigns and Cody finishes the story against The Rock in Saudi. They love to play millions to get matches with legends. That's not it for me, I've got to be honest.
No, not me either. You never said ever. Oh boy. I don't know. Like I would have said about a week ago, like The Rock, A, doesn't need the Saudi shows for the money. B, he doesn't need it for the optics. C, he doesn't need to make that choice in his new leadership position. And then he kind of like contradicts all of those with what he did on SmackDown, let alone anything else.
Yes.
So you absolutely can't rule anything out, especially now before the press conference where everything feels so up in the air. I don't know.
Cody can't finish the story arguably anywhere other than WrestleMania. Arguably anywhere other than WrestleMania 40. But certainly not the Saudi show, and certainly not beating The Rock. It's about him and Roman, this.
Yeah, the finishing the story gets sadder the more you take out a single ingredient. I've said this before. Like, I don't mean to be so specific about this, but it's all about the who, what, where, and when. It's a singles match against Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 40, night 2. It's all of that. It doesn't
have to be a singles match for me.
Well,
I'll take what I can get right now.
Yeah, this is it. You've entered that stage of compromise, and I admire that.
Bargaining, yes. Yeah. I'll take it, and also I get to see The Rock as well. I kind of have my cake.
You don't want a bit of that,
yeah. Second question.
That's just Triple H's approach. I just really love to see The Rock. What do I bloody do?
I just can't wait for Thursday night. I want it to be here right now, and I'm also terrified of what's about to be announced. Jonathan Peter, thank you for your question, Jonathan. Hello, top foodie lover Hamlet and the last remaining journalist Wilborn. Thank you, Jonathan.
Two great takes.
Yes.
Two objectively spot on takes.
What is the situation with Drew McIntyre? Surely with how he's still being booked strong and seemingly on course to face Punk when he's back, is he re-signed? I checked into this. The last we heard was about a week ago from Meltzer talking all about this, and apparently he hasn't heard anything about Drew re-signing, and I think his contract runs out around April time, presumably around WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it feels like what they're doing with him now, you sense maybe him versus Cody at Elimination Chamber, for example, to keep them both busy before hopefully both being involved in triple threat main events for the titles. And what they've done with Punk, maybe that's the bait to try and get him to stick around. Stick around, and when Punk comes back in September or whenever it is, first feud.
Yeah, it's show business, not show friends, and they're both at the moment playing chicken with each other, aren't they? Like, and why not? Like, if you're Drew McIntyre, it seems like for the longest time the reason he didn't resign is because he knew his worth, because he thought that maybe every creative avenue in WWE had been explored and they weren't perceiving him as a top guy. an immediate feud with CM Punk upon his return is confirmation that they do, at very least, see him as somebody to put him in a big role there. Hold out for what you can get.
Yeah.
They've got the money to spend. I wish Drew nothing but the best. I hope he milks that little point of tension right the way to getting something massive at WrestleMania, and then still says, well, I've had it now, so why should I stay?
Yeah.
Like, what am I worth to you? I like wrestlers fighting for what they're worth.
And yeah, exactly. He's going to get a huge payday if he can pull something like that off. I mean, he'll get it regardless. AEW I'd love to see him in AEW. It could be potentially huge.
And that's what's helping him, isn't he? He knows he's not going to be short of bidders for his services.
Yeah. CM Punk going away for a while. Speaking of which, knock knock.
Who's there?
CM.
CM who?
That's show business. Final question today comes from Eddie Zamhari, who says, hello, boys. He sent me a baby grow to buy Eric with that one.
Did you?
Great. I'm going to do it. Eddie Zamhari says, hello, boys. With the Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody controversial debate happening right now, what is your wild controversial debate in terms of storyline or match that made you mad in the past?
We've had it for the last 12 months. And Wilborn's tweet that just says, see, when everything about last year's WrestleMania 39 decision works out perfectly, has just magically dropped onto my drafts where I go, see, up.
I was right.
There.
I was right. It's not my fault, this.
You went, nothing that's happened post
Me and Paparazzi were cooking.
Nothing that's happened post WrestleMania 39 couldn't have happened without Cody Rhodes winning the title, and I include to right now when it would actually be a cooler situation for The Rock to be fighting the Tribal Chief when there was no belt involved. The best moment of Roman Reigns post WrestleMania 39 run was Jey Uso pinning him. That still would have been just as effective because the Usos needed that big moment. Nothing that has occurred with the Bloodline has needed Roman's belt. The matches have gotten worse, and we now find ourselves in the WrestleMania situation we're in, partly as a result of the fact that he's still got the frigging thing around his waist, and The Rock fancies it. Wouldn't have been in the conversation a year ago.
Disagree. I have enjoyed post WrestleMania 39 Roman as champion for like the bits at Money in the Bank that I just adored, obviously. But yeah, I am going to let it play out because I still have faith right up until Thursday night potentially. The thing is, if you take The Rock out of this equation and his decision making to involve himself in all this, and I am kind of vindicated.
Well, the one thing
I can't factor in Dwayne just suddenly going, I think I'm going to destroy all these plans that you've laid out for the last 2 years, thank you.
And the one thing I know about you, Will Botton, is that in wrestling, all you ever want to do is take The Rock out of equation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you all over, right?
This guy. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. The WrestleMania 40 headliner, potentially. Anyway, let's leave thoughts on everything we've discussed in the comments section below. Like, share, subscribe. And while you're at it, why not check out this video? We'll see. Oh, I realised I didn't answer his question.
Oh, yeah.
Circling back, Shayna Baszler should have won at WrestleMania 36. Sorry, Eddie, almost forgot you there. Check out this video. Bye.